Story time! Today's story, Vampirina Home Scream Home. Vampirina and her band, the Ghoul Girls, were practicing their newest song. They sounded pretty rockin'. V's mum and dad interrupted band practice with a big surprise. They entered the Ghoul Girls in the Transylvanian Scream Factor Competition. Vampirina had always wanted to compete in the Scream Factor. Whoever won would be named Transylvania's most talented artist. The competition was on that night. "It's my bat dream come true," said V. Poppy was excited to go, but Bridget hesitated. "Where all the monsters live?" asked Bridget nervously. "How are we going to get there?" asked Poppy. "By broom," said V. "Transylvania, here we come." V was excited to show Poppy and Bridget the place where they grew up. "My home, scream home," said V as they flew over Transylvania. V looked for her favourite places, like the ice cream shop and the studio where she took monster dance classes, but she didn't see them anywhere. Things in Transylvania looked different than V remembered. "I guess it's been a long time since I was here," she said. Ahead, V spotted one place she definitely remembered, Spookleton Castle. That's where they were headed for the competition. "The Scream Factor is in a castle?" asked Poppy. "Transylvania is even better than I thought." V led her friends inside. Poppy and Bridget saw other monster bands, even singing werewolves. "Wow, I'm used to pups that can only sit or stay," said Poppy. Backstage, V and the girls ran into their friends, the Scream Girls. They were competing too. "You're gonna rock this show," said Ghastly Gale. Just then, another band arrived. It was Poltergeist Pat and the Boo Boys. "No one's gonna rock this competition like we are," said Pat. The Scream Girls told Pat that the Ghoul Girls were competing too. Pat had never heard of the Ghoul Girls. V told Pat that the reason he had never heard of the Ghoul Girls was that she moved from Transylvania and lived in Pennsylvania now. Pat laughed. "You think an ex-Transylvanian and a couple of humans can win Transylvania's top talent show?" Pat told V that she may be a vampire, but she doesn't belong in Transylvania anymore. "I've got a ghostly feeling I'm going to win," he said. "In fact, I guarantee it." The Scream Girls told V not to listen to Pat, but V was worried. "I thought I'd always be Transylvanian, no matter how far away we were," she said. "Maybe I'm not really Transylvanian anymore." V told her friends she'd rather not compete. "I wish you didn't feel that way, but if that's what you want, then that's okay," Bridget said. "We support you no matter what," Poppy agreed. Later that night, the Scream Factor competition was underway, but the Scream Girls were missing. V knew something was wrong. The Scream Girls never missed a show. V rounded up her friends to search for the Scream Girls. "Good thing I know this castle like the back of my wings," said V. V led her friends to the highest turret to ask Mrs. Sludgeo, the water monster, if she'd seen the Scream Girls. Then they headed to Gargoyle Hall to ask Franklin the Gargoyle. No one had seen the Scream Girls. When they searched the room of magic mirrors to ask the magical reflection ghost, he pointed to the kitchen. Maybe the Scream Girls were there. Vi and her friends checked the kitchen, but it was full of skeletons. Vi knew how to get the skeletons out of the way. If there's one thing these skeletons can't resist, it's a good conga line, she said. The skeletons formed a conga line and danced, but the Scream Girls weren't in the kitchen either. They had one more place to check, the dungeon. There's just one problem. How to get into the dungeon is a secret, said Gregoria. Vi remembered what to do. I have to play an old Transylvanian tune, she said. Vi hopped from one stone to another on the floor. The stones lit up and played a spooky melody. Suddenly, a door to the dungeon opened. Vi headed down the staircase to the dungeon and began to call out for the Scream Girls. At first, her friends were afraid to follow. Soon, everyone heard a call for help. It was the Scream Girls. They found the Scream Girls in a dungeon cell. "Don't come in," cried Ghastly Gale. "We're here to save you," said Bridget. As Vi and her friends ran inside, the door swung shut with a bang. Now they were all locked in. It was Poltergeist Pet. "I told you I wasn't going to lose this competition," he said with a laugh. "I'm locking you up until after the show is over. I'm going to win." "This isn't winning, this is cheating," said Vi. Poltergeist Pet didn't care. He would do anything to sing his way to superstar Screamdom. "I guess the Boo Boys are going to win," said Frank and Stacey. Vi had another idea. "I may not remember everything about Transylvania," she said, "but I do remember this. Transylvanians never give up." Vi came up with a plan to get out of the dungeon and turned into a bat. Demi floated through the door and helped Bat Vi squeeze through the keyhole. They flew off to get the key. Vi and Demi spotted Poltergeist Pet. He had the key, but he made the key fly away. Vi and Demi flew after the key, but it was too fast. Vi's dad Boris and the acrobats came to help. They zipped and zoomed and caught the key. Vi and Demi raced back to the dungeon and freed Poppy, Bridget, Gregoria and the Scream Girls. They had just enough time to perform in the Scream Factor Competition. The Scream Girls rushed to the stage where they were announced as the final act. "What about the Ghoul Girls?" asked Creepy Caroline. Vi admitted that they were not competing. "This is about Transylvanian talent," she said. "I don't know how Transylvanian I am anymore." Vi's friend assured her that everything about her was Transylvanian. She knew her way around the castle and had saved her friends. Being Transylvanian is part of who you are. It doesn't matter where you move. They'll never change, said Frank and Stacey. When the Scream Girls were called on stage, Frank and Stacey got an idea. Tonight is a celebration of all things Transylvania, and we've got some friends who have the most Transylvanian spirit of anyone we know. Give it up for a spooktacular band, the Ghoul Girls. The Ghoul Girls took the stage. Poltergeist Pat couldn't believe his plan didn't work. Vi, Poppy and Bridget rocked out, and the Ghoul Girls were named Scream Factor Champions. Vampirina realised that no matter where she was still Transylvanian and never far from her home Scream home. The end. What a great story! Maybe you could join us for another story time in the next video. Thanks! Don't forget to like and subscribe.